If you recall, when I was in Texas, in addition to covering the Botham Jean assassination, where a police officer basically intruded in on Botham Jean, a 26-year-old black man who was just hanging out at his apartment, shot him dead. There was also a 24-year-old named O'Shea Terry. He and his friend were pulled over for expired registration. Registration expired by 2 days. 2 days, they pulled this guy over. The first police officer was relatively calm. He said, "I smell weed in your car, blah, blah, blah." He admitted he had weed in his car. And she went back to her police car to enter in his name, his birthday, and other information, which the police do. I've been stopped before, and they go back to their car and enter things. Another police officer then was there at the passenger seat and said, "We're going to have to search your car." O'Shea started driving away. Obviously, it wasn't the right thing to do, but fleeing should not be a death sentence in the United States. And most police departments, including Arlington Police Department, which I'm about to show you, the protocol is not to jump on the car. This officer jumped on his car as he was driving away and shot inside 5 times and killed him. So if you don't want to see it, look away, but this is a reminder of what happened.
Okay, what are you upset about? It's hot. Well, I'm staying outside here. You know? Like I say, if you don't have any more inside the vehicle, y'all should be worried about it. You know? We just have to do what we have to do. So that's basically it. Hey, 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 hey! Hey, stop! Sir. Hey! Hey, man! Stop, bro! Stop! Stop the car, man! Stop the car!
So that was the very, very horrifying image of what happened. That police officer had zero reason, absolutely zero reason to do what he did. And here was the police officer at the community meeting that we were there covering, dodging my questions.
What is the police procedure for a driver running away and not adhering to commands? Is it to shoot out their tires? Is it to get a helicopter, or is it to shoot into the car? What is the general protocol for that kind of situation?
So in regards to your first question, I know that the community is frustrated that we have.
Oh, and I should have said they refused to release the police officer's name. So that was one of my questions. Why is it that they have not released the police officer's name?
Released his name. I hear that all the time from people. Why haven't we released his name? Why haven't we released his name? And I hear that. We've gotten threats. We're not prepared to release that information about what those threats are. I know that people feel that there is a double standard when it relates to the treatment of officers versus the treatment of people in the community. But at this point, we're just not prepared to release his name based on the information that we have. That doesn't mean that we won't release it later. But right now, we're just not prepared to do it. That doesn't mean that we won't. Okay? And I know that people are frustrated with that. But right now, that is our stance. And as it relates to your second question about what our tactics are, I don't want to be misquoted. So if you want to know what our tactics are, you're more than welcome to go and file an open records request to get a copy of what we teach. As it relates to tactics and things like that and dealing with people on traffic stops.
So you don't want to be misquoted. You can't just generally say, is the protocol or the general process to shoot out a tire, to call for backup if they're driving away? I mean,
we have a variety of tactics at our disposal in dealing with people when we were on.
So blah, 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 blah. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. She couldn't simply answer what is the protocol, and she also wouldn't answer why is it that you will not release this officer's name. I've researched far and wide. I have not been able to find an example where the police for 45 days refused to release an officer's name. To me, there's 2 reasons you won't release an officer's name. Number 1, that officer has a pretty bad record and you want to come up with a story to try and save that officer. Number two, the officer might not have a very bad record, but you are trying to cover up the incident and you're trying to set up a plausible explanation. So either way, it never made sense to me why they would not release this officer's name. But today, oh no, excuse me, this was Friday night, they did release the officer's name. The Arlington Police Department has identified the officer involved in the shooting death of O'Shea Terry on September 1st. The officer who stopped Terry is Julie Herrely. That was the first officer I told you about. She didn't shoot him. She did not escalate the situation. She just went back to her car, entered his information. Again, he was pulled over with his friend for expired registration. The backup officer who was involved in the shooting is identified as Bao Tron, the department said in a news release just after 5 p.m. Friday. Terry, 24, was killed after trying to take off from a traffic stop on September 1st. Police said the criminal investigation into the shooting was completed on Wednesday and has been given to the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. Throughout the criminal investigation, the involved officer did not provide a statement to the investigating criminal detectives, which is allowed by constitutional law, the release said. No affirmative findings have been reached at this stage as the Arlington Police Department awaits the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office decision to present the case to the full review of a grand jury. The administrative investigation to determine if Tran followed policies or not is still ongoing. Okay, so it took you 45 days. It took you 45 days to release the name of a police officer who jumped on a car that was driving away and shot inside of the car 5 times and killed a man. Well, why exactly is the investigation not complete? Tell me why after 45 days. I'm going to read it one more time. The administrative investigation determined if Trans followed police policies is still ongoing. And no affirmative findings have been reached at this stage as the Arlington Police Department awaits the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office decision to present the case to the full review of grand jury. Well, as far as I could tell, folks, unless you saw something different, O'Shea Terry nor the passenger had a gun pointed at that officer. O'Shea Terry nor his friend, the passenger, Terrence Harmon, who's going to have PTSD for the rest of his life. My interview up with him, where he talks about that he literally can't sleep. He's so traumatized, is up on this channel. There was zero threat to that officer. Zero. He was driving away. Now, you could say he shouldn't have driven away. I've said he shouldn't have driven away. That's not a death sentence, and that's not legal grounds by a police officer to jump on a car and shoot 5 times. So the administrative investigation, still ongoing. The criminal investigation, they haven't made a decision about the grand jury. Well, let me solve the case for you. How about I solve the case? Detective Chariton, you ready? Okay? What is the protocol for an Arlington Police Department cop? What is the protocol? What are they trained to do? What does their guidebook tell them to do in the event that someone is fleeing? Here we go. Officers will not discharge a firearm at or from a moving vehicle, except when the suspect is using deadly force against the officer or others by means other than the vehicle, or when all other reasonable means of defense have failed. Officers will not place themselves in a position in front of an oncoming vehicle where deadly force is a likely outcome. One more time. Will not discharge a firearm at or from a moving vehicle except when the suspect is using deadly force against the officer or by other means than the vehicle. Well, Arlington Police Department. You see at the bottom? That's the Arlington Police Department. So it's right there. We know what the protocol is. We know if what was the term they use? An administrative investigation to see if he, quote, followed the policies or not. that's taking you 45 days? It's right there. Of course he wasn't following the policies. Not only should this officer's name should have been released right away, but he should be fired. It is an insult to the Terry family. It is an insult to the black community in Arlington and throughout Texas and around this country that he has not been fired. And he should be in jail waiting for trial. You saw the video. I saw a commenter say it's inappropriate to show the video. People could Google it. I disagree. I disagree. I don't want to show the video. I don't want, it's a terrible thing to have to show, but some people might not have heard the story, and you need to see what these white officers are doing to really understand the story. So, sorry, got to show it. Got to show it. So, bottom line, it's black and white. No pun intended. It is black and white. This officer jumped on a car that was driving away. There was not a gun pointed at him. There was nothing pointed at him. There was zero risk to his life. And he was irrational and impulsive and killed a man, a black man. Why is there an investigation going on? Why, if there is an investigation going on, has it taken 45 days to locate the Arlington Police Department handbook and training module to see he had no legitimate reason to do what he did? None. So either these people are fucking idiots, ooh, cursed again, or there's a cover-up going on. And there is a cockamamie, fakakta story that they are plotting to come up with to make it palatable that this officer was in fear of his life. I don't know what that story could be because the video is very clear. The video is very clear. But there's zero reason that this officer shouldn't have been fired. The fact that this officer is being paid, he is still being paid. Yes, he's handed in his gun and his badge, but he's still being paid. And MISH-O, an automobile is a deadly weapon, not one that's driving away from you. That's not a deadly weapon. It says it right there. It says it right there. So, I don't know what to tell you. It's corrupt. It's corrupt. I'm happy I went down there thanks to your GoFundMe contributions because I didn't know about it. The corporate media certainly isn't covering it. Corporate media certainly isn't covering it. So I'm going to keep following up on this case. I'm going to keep following up on the Botham Jean case. I'm also going to do some research and try and get a hold of this officer's prior records because I have a sneaking suspicion there's some dirt in there. And that's the reason they wouldn't release his name, not because there were threats against the police department. So there you have it. 45 days it's taken to release the guy's name, and still they aren't done with an investigation, even though it's clear to any logical person that that officer had zero threat against him.